I somehow finished this book in the span of time that I needed to finish it in order to make this video. So I'm happy about that. I hope you're happy about that. Today we're talking about The Crimson Fire by Abel Montero. Okay? First of all, thank you to Abel for even giving me an arc to read. You know, I didn't expect to even get one, so I appreciate that in every which way. Thank you so much. The second thing I want to get out of the way is this is a very technical review. This is not just me going to come on here and say I thought that was awesome and then I'm going to go away. I'm actually going to talk about this book because I'm trying to do that more. I'm really sorry, Abel, that your book is the first one that I'm starting to be a lot more technical reviewing with. So if this ever gets to him, I'm sorry. I apologize. But it needs to be said, in my opinion. And I don't want to be a reviewer who just says glorified things about books and then, next book. You're here to listen to me talk about The Crimson Fire by Abel Montero, and the first thing that I have to say is I thought it was okay. Very middle of the road, because there were some cool things and there were some not so cool things. That's really the crux of the matter right here. I don't really know if I use that phrase right, but I say it a lot, so I should probably figure out if I'm using that phrase right. Regardless, I was intrigued, but I wasn't fully impressed. So the Crimson Fire arc starts off with what I thought should be like a prologue, essentially. It was 28 pages on my Kindle of what I thought should have been a prologue, because we follow a character named Eshfen, who is about to basically go on a heist from this. He's going to go heist something from this mansion on this island. And all that would have been cool. The atmosphere was mysterious, was a bit foreboding, a bit tense, etc., right? So the atmosphere was there. But every single time Eshfen had a thought, it was, look at this view, look at this cool thing, look at these beautiful people, look at this nice mansion. Oh, what a pity, something bad's about to happen, because he's going to be the one going in there to heist it with his two allies. Like every single positive or like nice little beginning of a phrase ended with some pity party negative phrase of like, oh, this is a nice mansion, too bad there's going to be blood here soon. Oh, look at all these people enjoying their time, too bad that's not going to last. Oh, look at this beautiful island, sucks that it's owned by somebody who's in with the merchant guild or whatever it is. It was just like everything was so pity party, rain on my parade. It really, it threw me off so badly that I almost didn't want to continue past chapter 1. But I'm glad I did. So the entire rest of the story follows 3 characters, right? Shadi Janhura, her dagger Darjin, and by dagger it's basically her bodyguard, and Ensin Andik. Ensin is like a title you give to people who are higher up in the leadership in this cultural society. So he is Ensin Andik. I thought they were cool. They were okay. I liked Andik the most because I think I knew the least about him throughout the book, which is kind of cool. Shadi Janhura is the daughter of Lujen Shalhura, so she is the daughter of basically a kingdom or maybe like a province's, a castle's leader. And she basically doesn't really follow all the rules all the time. She doesn't really like to follow what the current culture is promoting. She and her peers are at this age where they're supposed to be, getting older. They're just supposed to be thinking about looking for husbands or, getting themselves prettied up and dolled up to be paraded in front of people to look for husbands, that kind of thing. She was cool. She herself was cool, but once again, not fully sold. Darjin had a little bit of a hero's tale, a little bit of like a little backstory hero's tale happening with her in terms of her relation with Shadi. I liked that. The action scenes with the Darjin were pretty cool. I appreciated that. And, all in all, decent character. And the last one was Ensin Andik. So Thawil, or Andik, was kind of cool. He was a bit mysterious. He's basically trying to figure out if there's revolutionists in the hierarchy and how to root them out and how to prove to the master that there are revolutionists. So his story is a little bit of like a detective story thus far. Now, I said the book started with Eshfen, right? Chapter 1 started with Eshfen. Bro does not come back up in any form or fashion until like 60% of the book later. And so that's why it was so jarring to have a POV chapter 1 character not show up for the rest of the book. Basically, he's not one of the main characters we're following in the entire book. And so it's like, why would you put him as a chapter 1? I would prefer him as a prologue And then we get the story of Shadi, Andik, Darjin. You can trickle in Eshfen's character wherever you need to, but I'm not expecting that to be a prevalent POV throughout the story, kind of thing, you know? So that was another annoying thing for me. And the most interesting parts about this were more so the, what's it called? The cultural society that Abel was building here. Basically, the way the faith and cultural system in this world works is you have gods. Gods have given powers to masters who are beings greater than humans. Masters rule over the humans and give them titles like Lujel and Ensin, all those things. So that is kind of like the cultural hierarchy. There are three main groups, three main separated kingdoms, groups, etc. You have the binders, the tutors, and the nurturers. And so we're basically following along with Shadi, Darjin, and Andik in the, I believe, tutors group. And we don't know much about the binders or the nurturers yet. And that's kind of where my interest was, right? Like, who are these gods? Are these actual, like, humans pretending to be gods or actual gods? Who are the masters? Like, what is their type of race? Because when we see masters in the book, we see them as even bigger than humans in general. Or so I don't know if that means, like, larger than life presence, all those things, right? Do they have aura? I have to know this, you know what I'm saying? Or are they aura farming? We have to know this. And then lastly, is my brain rot affecting how I'm interpreting stories nowadays? So all in all, in that package that we have, character relationships, the culture, the people, so the people, the plot, the places, and the prose as my 4P method, I think all of them were okay, but none of them were great. The one saving grace of this thing was the actual epilogue, where Abel introduced two new POV characters, which were basically two characters from the binders and the nurturers, which I really appreciated because for some reason their POVs interested me into wanting to read number 2 or book number 2 whenever it comes out. If he hadn't put that in the epilogue, I would have stopped right there. I would have cleaned my hands and said, okay, this is just not for me right now. Honestly, that's probably what I would have done. So the epilogue saved the book for me. And I don't love saying that, but I think it's the most accurate way to say it. The exact one thing that actually annoyed me for the entirety of the book, was the author's use of page breaks in the book, because so essentially, like, I mean symbolic page breaks like this, where there's a hard break, where usually the hard breaks would mean POV change, a long time frame skip, scene skip, like you're having a large, like, change between this scene and this scene, whether it's time, people, or environment, or something like that, right? There were literal scenes in this book where it started and where it picked up was like a 3-second difference, but there was like a page break right there. Like, why? Respectfully, why? Right? It's so jarring for my immersion because as a reader, authors have set an expectation to me that symbolic page breaks are like this. And so when I'm reading now, I'm thinking, wait, what is that? Why is that? Like, what is that? Why is that there? Like, I'm expecting a long amount of time to have passed. So then I'm like, okay, cool. How much further into the future are we? Where are we? Who's the new POV or whatever it is? And sometimes it's a 3-second difference. It's like when you're watching TV and it fades to commercial, then picks right back up after commercial, is how it felt. That was my only technical personal gripe with the book. But for me, it was so prevalent and frequent throughout the book that I was like, dang. Would have loved to read a version of the book with not as many of those in there, to be honest. Now, this is the arc. I don't necessarily know if that translated to the actual book or not. I hope it didn't, but if nobody told him that, then I'm going to say that I think there should be less of those in there. That being said, I'll end it off by saying that, The Crimson Fire is a good first book. I don't think it's great, but I do know what I can expect from the author for now. I think there's potential here. I think there's something here. I just would like to see it cleaned up. I would like to see it tightened a little bit. I would like to, explore a little bit more of the actual world, less of the character relationships. Give me more of the magic. Give me more of the lore. Give me more of the. In this book, I don't mind the political relations. If y'all know me, y'all know I don't fuck with political stuff. In this book, I didn't mind it, right? So give me more of that in book 2, and maybe, you know, maybe it'll be better. And then once again, Abel, thank you for the arc. I apologize if I was too harsh, but hopefully some of it rings true. You and I also now need to talk about this new thing that happened last week that I'm so fucking annoyed with, and this has got to stop, okay? This has got to stop. Essentially what happened is that either this publisher company or this special edition maker company released their mock-ups of the special editions of Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, which is a duology by Lee Bardugo. If you don't know this, it's a really, really great heist dark fantasy duology. I will put up the images for you on the screen right now. And I will also tell you that these are absolute dog shit and I hate them. Why? Because they're not as thematically related to the story as they should be. And here's where I'm getting with that, right? I don't have any problem with special editions. If you want your vanity shit, go ahead. But I am sick of these special edition makers just taking characters from the book and slapping them on the cover with no context, right? Because the way they're doing it is basically they're taking two characters from the book, right? Kaz, Brecker, and Inej Gaffa, and showing like a little bit of directional interplay within them because there is a romance subplot in there for them. But that is not in any way the actual theme of the story. That is not in any way the actual theme of the story. So, like, it just annoys me that that's the special edition route you went. There's a whole host, there's 6 crows for you to choose from, and you just chose those 2 for the 2 specific book covers. Like, it's just lame. To me, it's lame, it's lazy, it's pandering to an audience that I don't think needs to be pandered to because they have enough. Like, give me more nice special edition covers. I thought I almost lost you guys there. Anyways, like I was saying, the trend right now in just putting people on book covers with no thematic relation to the actual book is really annoying as someone who would love to, yes, I would love to buy special edition copies for my bookshelf, but I'm not going to buy them just to buy them. Like, they have to be good. I'm not just going to buy bullshit for my shelf and pay money for that. Other people will. You guys might buy your bullshit and put it on your shelf. I'm not doing that. And so, like, yo, for a story like Six of Crows, where it's so deep, there's so much to pull from, just characters on a screen, on a page, colored background. I could make that in fucking ChatGPT right now. And that shit would still look just as ass as the one you put up. No disrespect to the artist who made that. You were probably given directions and you made what you were given. But that shit is not it. That shit is not it, and we need to stop this. That's just my little spiel for current events of this time around. It's been a very crazy set of weeks. I've only read 1 book this month, and it's already the 15th. So I only have 14 days left to read the rest of all 5 of the books, all 4 of the books left that I was supposed to read. By the way, one of the books that I talked about in the last video about the book 2s that I'm reading was a book 3. I got that wrong as well. So yeah, tax season isn't really good for my brain right now. But I'll catch you guys later. I'll catch you guys in the next video. I hope you can take care of yourselves. I'm exhausted. I'm going to go finish out tax season, and then I'm going to get to reading, just like you should be. I'll catch you guys later.